Hi everyone, just want to talk about some sunroof maintenance that we often forget or sometimes don't even know we need to do. Um, Working on this 1979 Mustang, and it's got the pop-up sunroof that's recessed so that it sits flush with the roof when it's closed. So every one of these has a drain hole in each corner. The same on the other side. Now, the brilliant guy who did the bodywork on this car filled this hole with silicone or seam sealer, so it was plugged solid, and the other three were plugged with dirt at the end of the hose. I already have the interior apart on this car for a different reason, but it gives a good opportunity to show how it works. So you've got your hose that comes down, goes down into the front, top of the windshield, and then goes down your A-pillar and comes out at the bottom of the rocker arm on the outside. Same thing on the other side, and in the back you have one that drains down there, and in this car it goes down behind the back window and then it wraps around through here out this hole, which goes outside into the rocker arm. Now this one had a great big plug of dirt about 3/4 of an inch thick that was in there. So once I knocked that one out, it drained fine. On the other side, it's the same thing. The other two on the driver's side, I didn't have to pull the hoses out. I was just able to push them out, clear them out with a small piece of 1/16 wire rope that I had. I was able to shove that down in the hole, and it's long enough that it'll reach all the way to the end. And on this one I was able to do that as well, but I couldn't get the plug of dirt out just by pushing on it, so I had to pull the hose out and then pull the plug out. Now on this one, because it was so plugged, I had to take the hose off on the inside, and even though I've cleared it with multiple different sizes of wire, with this piece of wire rope, screwdriver, drill bit, everything I could, the flow still isn't 100%. So I'll have to get a pipe cleaner or something and work on that later. But I just want to demonstrate how the flow should be if all of your holes are unplugged. So you can see the amount of water I've got coming out of the hose. So each one of these little drain holes can handle that much water, and if it's not draining, you need to unplug that because it can cause all kinds of problems. So what I did was, this hose on this car happens to sit nicely right there. Now almost immediately you can hear that this hose, this drain hole here, is taking away an awful lot of water. Now the water has just made it to the driver's side front corner, and you can see a lot of water going down. So over here, if I plug this gap here with my hand, it doesn't really drain. It's really slow because it's still plugged. So I'll have to work on that again. Now, in order to test the back one, what I did was I plugged this over here with my hand, and I'll see if I can do this without dropping the phone. Then I plug this one so that the water makes its way to the other side. Of course, when I did this, I didn't have the stupid phone in my hand. And I had this drain this drain here was not flowing yet. So it was easy. I just had to block off the flow over there. So if I move this to here, and I'll come around the other side. I'll just put my thumb here, and immediately you can see how nicely it's flowing. So with these 3 drains working, the water level goes down really fast. But you do have to keep an eye on these things, because as you can see, there's little bits of blossoms from the trees and pine needles and stuff, and that stuff can get down in the bottom and plug it right up. So whether you have an old car that this hasn't been done on, or any kind of car with this style of sunroof, would definitely recommend unplugging these holes, making sure that they flow properly, and you shouldn't have any problems. Because if they don't flow properly, what happens is I'll just plug this one here briefly, and you'll see. So the water very quickly comes over the top of the lip there, which is the bottom of the seal, and it doesn't take long, especially if the car is parked. It doesn't take long for that to fill up and start to drip inside, which, you know, you might be banging your head against the wall trying to figure out where the water's coming from. It's probably from here, but if you can see here now, the little whirlpool starting to form as the water drains out of that hole, and it works really well. I've never had a car with this kind of sunroof, so I didn't know how well it would drain, but it really drains quite well. So yeah, I guess that's it. Just make sure that you check all your drains for your sunroof and make sure that they drain, and you won't have any problems. Bye.